Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by PlayPicks and thelines.com. I'm your host, Nate Weitzer, on the East Coast, flying solo today as Josh Lander is out in New Orleans celebrating his bachelorhood. He's got that wedding coming up in a few months, and we are all celebrating All-Star Weekend. Out in Cleveland this weekend, we have an episode for you breaking down the skills, dunk, and three-point contests on Saturday night. In this episode, I'll be talking about the All-Star game itself, some betting angles to consider, and potential MVP bets for that game. As always, if you need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to FDPicks.com or DKPicks.com, and please like and subscribe to the page. We will return after the break with our usual dose of game videos and those player props. We've been well over 500 in 2022 on another 3-in-1 night to close out the first half of the season this Thursday. So looking at the All-Star game, remember, first thing to know, this is the third year of the Elam ending, meaning they no longer just play 4 quarters of 12-minute ball. They play 3 with the scores reset to 0-0 for no purposes other than earning more money for charity if you win that quarter. But the combined score after 3 quarters, then you need 24 more points than that to win. So, for example, last year, Team LeBron had 146 after 3 quarters. They had to get to 170 to win. They did that and won 170 to 150. The year before, we had a much closer game, though, where Team LeBron actually trailed heading into the fourth quarter, 133 to 126, and came back to win it 157-155 on an Anthony Davis free throw. Much more exciting than any All-Star game we had seen in the past. I do believe we will have something closer to that first example than the second example. It's pretty rare to have a blowout in this format or really in any All-Star game because, it takes a certain amount of, killer instinct from one team to do that. And they, to some degree, they know it's entertainment. I know LeBron, with his first pick, took Giannis, who he said is the hardest playing player in All-Star game history, and that's fair. Giannis went 16 for 16 last year to win All-Star MVP. LeBron had Steph and Dame Lillard both go nuts from downtown, shot 50% from deep as a team, 31 for 51, and that is what led to such a lopsided result. Team Durant was not nearly as strong last year, and it's not as strong this year on paper, granted. LeBron absolutely smoked him in this draft, and it wasn't really KD's fault initially when he got, he did not have the first pick of the starters, so he got stuck with Andrew Wiggins and Trae Young. No slight to Wiggy, who I'm sure Josh would defend were he on the air today, as the Warriors got their all-star starter there. But yeah, he clearly is not the top all-star starter. However, I think KD this year, has Embiid, who was injured last year at the break. He has Ja Morant, who is one of the best competitors, best winners we have this season right now. And Trae Young, who's not going to let his team slide when he's out there if he's running the second unit or whatever it may be. I think they hang around and at least keep this relatively close. And so it's interesting when betting the total in this Elam ending, because after 3 quarters, what do you have to get to? And you basically know that if one team is trailing and they close to make it close, then they're going to get over the total. I mean, for example, when Team Bron's down 7 and they came back to win, we only had a total of 259, but it closed at 312 because, 24 points plus the 7 that they had to close, 9. So we're getting a guaranteed 57 points for Team LeBron to come back and win. So if we have a total of 270 to 280 heading into the fourth quarter, which is pretty likely when you still have an all-star game, you still have guys just throwing alley-oops, getting out of the way, taking wide open threes, then you're almost guaranteed to get about 48 points in a close finish, as long as the team that's trailing keeps it close. So if you're going to take the underdogs here, Team Durant at +6, I think you take the over along with it, because you're assuming that, unlike last year when they just couldn't catch up down 23 points heading into the final frame, that this year they will be able to catch up, that there will be an entertainment factor in terms of the underdog coming back to catch up. And, maybe Team Durant surprises and they're leading. And this LeBron team with Giannis, with Steph, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, they're not going to go down, I don't think, by double digits. That's for sure. So we could see them pull back up, help the total get over there. Both times in this Elam ending, we've gone 320 or lower, and that is what the total's at this year at 320. It hit exactly 320 last year, though, and certainly would have gone over if Team Durant was able to hang with them a little bit more. So that is the game theory to think about when betting that game. I would, in general, just take Team Durant at +6 because, again, the nature of the ending makes it much more likely that we're going to have a close finish than that we're going to have another 20-point win. I think that's just a bit of an anomaly that you're not going to see again. Changing gears a little bit to look at the MVP voting. Look, last year, LeBron, he drafted an amazing team, but he decided he only wanted to play about 13 minutes as he rested his aging bones. Right now, he's tied for the shortest odds to win MVP with Giannis, who took over that mantle last year and scored 35 points. First guy in the All-Star game to have perfect field goal shooting and get about 35 points. LeBron just played 13 minutes and mostly just watched his handiwork as his team went nuts. I do think LeBron would be my preferred bet if I'm taking an MVP from his side. I think, he has a few more years left under his belt for sure, but I think there's the potential for something of a swan song here. It is in Cleveland, of course, which is a big deal for Bron. I think he comes out and kind of orchestrates things because the Lakers have kind of admitted that they're, not going very far this season in terms of their trade deadline in action. The front office not necessarily believing in them. So maybe this is an opportunity. It's just less of a load management situation for Bron when he's, he does have that sore knee, but I think he'll come out with something to prove at least. I would kind of lean towards him for that team, but I would rather actually bet on the underdogs because of the odds you're getting and because of the limited number of candidates, really. I think it's between Embiid and Ja Morant. I can't really see anyone else on Team KD getting that MVP. And Morant is my preferred bet as well because he can impact the game in so many ways when it's a fast break style game. We've seen it with Memphis with him being both on the giving and receiving end of so many alley-oops. And that's exactly what you do in an all-star game to electrify the crowd and to get consideration for the MVP. I could definitely see 35 points, 10 plus assists for Morant. If the player props do come out before Sunday, and you can get Morant to go near either of those totals, I would definitely consider it. I think he'll rack up double-digit assists with ease in this format. He'll be throwing lobs all over the place. A little bit concerned that he doesn't have a lot of lob partners on this team, though. But he could be on the receiving end of more lobs from guys like Trae Young, etc. It's the Memphis Grizzlies. They've been overlooked for years. Ja Morant is a natural underdog who is now playing in his first All-Star game, starting in his first All-Star game. I think he will be, all over this. His fingerprints will be all over this game. He will be dunking on people if they decide to get in his way. In the All-Star game, they usually just duck and cover. But he is a very impressive dunker. And I think that is a big reason why you consider him at plus 900 here at DraftKings to win MVP. Again, if betting on this game, I think +6 is your best bet. And taking MVP, got to lean towards the veteran LeBron, who's now 4-0 when drafting All-Star game teams. So it will be tough for Team KD, plus 190 on the money line to pull out this win, but I do think they can at least make it close. That is all the time we have for today. Please like and subscribe to the page. And as always, happy betting.